I'm Ashley Bullington, and you're watching The Warmup. 5 more weeks of district play until we reach the playoffs, so every game is that much more important. This week, we have a bunch of games that could go a long way in deciding district titles. Let's start the show by looking at some big-time matchups. Let's start in District 4-6A, where a couple of Arlington teams face off. The undefeated Colts of Arlington take on Arlington Bowie in a game that could decide the district champ. This game features the 2 best quarterbacks in the district. Arlington's Jahari Rogers has thrown for over 1,400 yards, while the Vols' Malcolm Mays has thrown for almost 1,400 himself. Look for an aerial show in this one that could go down to the last possession. Another big 6A tussle goes down in Allen. The undefeated Eagles take on the undefeated Plano East Panthers. We all know how talented Allen is at every position, but Plano East is having a statistically incredible season. Both teams are coming off bye weeks, so they had 2 weeks to prepare for this one. Grant Tisdale has distributed the pigskin to a variety of receivers as Allen has mowed down their competition. As for Plano East, Brandon Mallory also has had a ton of deep threats that will need to find a way to get open against the pesky Allen defense. Allen hasn't lost a regular season game since 2012 and have beaten the Panthers the last 18 times they've played. Only way Plano East wins this is if they ignore the past and find a way to get turnovers. How about District 3-6A, where the Haltom Buffaloes go into their game with Trinity undefeated. Michael Black and the Haltom offense have averaged 525 yards of offense a game, but haven't played the greatest competition. This will be the Trojans' toughest opponent until the postseason, and they have this one at home, so look for Trinity to take the W. A couple of great 5A games this week as well. Denton Ryan and Colleyville Heritage meet at Dragon Stadium Friday. Ryan, Colleyville, and Birdville are all undefeated in District 4 5A, so this game will go a long way in crowning a champion. Also, Highland Park heads to Mansfield to face Legacy. This game lost a little of its luster with the season-ending injury of Legacy quarterback Jalen Catalon. Chandler Morris has been everything the Scots hoped for at quarterback as their offense hasn't missed a beat. Legacy is healthier coming off their bye week and lucked out by having this game at home. A win for the Broncos could put them back in the state title conversation. We should see some incredible performances in those games. And speaking of great performances, here's a look at 3 guys who are hoping to get an MVP bobblehead due to their play last week. Let's start with Southlake Carroll running back TJ McDaniel. The SMU recruit scored 3 touchdowns and ran for 154 yards last week against Geyer. The Dragons needed every bit of his effort as they pulled out a last-second win against the Wildcats. Duncanville quarterback Quinn Jackson had a solid effort against Skyline last Friday. He completed both of the passes he threw and one was for a touchdown. But Jackson did most of his damage on the ground, where he ran for 133 yards and 3 touchdowns in a 63-6 victory. And finally, how about Rowlett quarterback Chayce Paul? Against South Garland last Thursday, Paul threw for 222 yards and 5 touchdowns as the Eagles took down the Colonels 42-20. Rowlett is undefeated, and a lot of credit goes to the senior quarterback. This week on Inside High School Sports, we'll have a story on an interesting program going on at Mesquite Poteet. Each player has a mentor that meets with him every Friday morning to discuss how things are going on the field, but more importantly, at home. It's a program that has had a positive impact on every Pirate player. Now, let's see how last week's games may have caused movement in our rankings. In 6A, everything remains the same. Allen took advantage of their bye week to get healthy and stay at number 1. Duncanville was hoping to get a game from Skyline, but they didn't. The Panthers crushed the Raiders 63-6 and remain at number 2. Cedar Hill is still 3 after having the week off. Trinity took the long trek to San Angelo and bombed Central 70-28 to stay at number 4. Southlake Carroll got tested big time by Denton Geyer, but used a halfback option with 11 seconds left to get the victory. Dragons stay at number 5. In 5A, Highland Park had the week off, so they will stay at number 1. They have a big matchup with Mansfield Legacy this week. Aledo was tied with Midlothian at halftime this past week before pulling away. The Bearcats stay at 2. Denton Ryan didn't get much competition from Newman Smith in a 63-7 win. The Raiders are at 3, but have a big matchup with Colleyville Heritage this week. Frisco Reedy keeps on handling their business as they beat Frisco Memorial by 5 scores. The number 4 team has Lovejoy this week. And rounding out the top 5 is Frisco Lone Star. Another lackluster offensive performance by the Rangers last week against Lakeland, but they stay in the top 5 for now. Now it's time to get your cool down in. I know mum's the word, but holy moly, this mum is huge.
Oh
I don't think I've ever seen
Becky.
one quite like this. Tag us in your mum photos if you've seen any mum bigger than this one. This one deserves a like. After a big win against Hebron, Capel couldn't help but celebrate with Monday morning donuts. I'll have to say, that's most certainly a celebration I want to be a part of. It's our last stretch. Riley Dodge and his Dragons had a big win against Denton Geyer, and they had the need to celebrate. Feel free to tag us in your high school sports content on social media. We have YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram that'll keep you in the loop and get you ready for Saturday at 6:30 p.m. when Wingstop Inside High School Sports, hosted by Pat Doney, comes on NBC5. That's all we have for this week. Now that you're warmed up, go enjoy what's going to be a big high school football weekend. I'm Ashley Bullington, and thanks for watching The Warm Up.